And we have continuing coverage right now on another freeze we want to tell you about, and that's a property tax freeze. Governor Cuomo laid out his proposal today, but it may be easier said than done. And Capitol correspondent Pat Bailey was at the governor's announcement a few hours ago, and he joins us live now from the Albany newsroom with what's in the plan. So what's in the plan, Pat?
Well, Liz, essentially the governor took what his tax commission suggested to him a few weeks ago and made a few tweaks and put together a package today for the legislature to consider when they get here to Albany later this week. Now, one of the things that sticks out is a 2-year freeze on property taxes. But there are a few catches to that, and each takes the decision out of the hands of the taxpayer.
If the locality wants the credit from the state, then the locality must perform.
On the heels of the recommendations from his tax commission, Governor Cuomo is calling for a property tax freeze for residents, if and only if those residents live within a city or town whose mayor does not raise taxes over the state's tax cap and has a plan to share services in the future.
If you don't want to, don't do it. But then the people in your district don't get the tax credit, and you'll have to explain to them why they didn't.
Cohoes Mayor George Primo would not have to explain to his residents why they didn't get a tax freeze. That's because he and his council have kept their budget under the property tax cap the past 3 years. But Primo says it wasn't easy, and it came with a cost.
We have 12 less guys in DPW, which on a day like today, and with the storms, it really hurts. We have less police officers, less firemen.
Primo says staying within the tax cap is one thing, but to force a local government to share services is another. Would you consolidate more if it meant a property tax freeze?
To a certain degree. Again, nobody wants to sit there and give up the control of their streets. I know one thing, police, I would never do.
Not all cities are as fiscally fortunate as Cohoes. In Mechanicville, a 2014 budget was just approved with a 17.7% property tax increase. Local leaders have criticized the state for implementing a property tax cap while continuing to pass down unfunded mandates. The governor says the state made tough decisions themselves. Now it's time to force local governments to do the same.
We made these changes on the state side, Pat. Federal government didn't come in here and pick up any of my costs.
Cuomo compares these caveats tied to the property tax relief to the teacher evaluations of a few years ago. At first, school districts balked at that idea. It was until the state offered a 4% increase to their funding if they went ahead and did them, and then a lot of them took advantage of it. Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, this proposal puts the pressure on local elected officials now, what they say about feeling that pressure from the residents who want a tax breaks, and hear from some taxpayers that I talked with today who say that they will in fact put the pressure now on their mayor, knowing that their tax break is tied to those caveats, Liz.